Hello everyone, this is Lolly. Welcome back. Today I want to give you the requested tutorial for this card that I made, and I will show you what I used in mine. Obviously, if you can't get a hold of some of these supplies, what I'm going to show you is going to help you if you have any floral dies. So let's get started. For the flowers themselves and for the word spring, I am using Tonic Craft Kit 42, which is called Spring Wreath. And there is this segment right here. It's actually 3 dies. I don't worry about the outer one. I take the medium, the middle, and the inner one and cut that out and vellum. So you want to do that and set that aside. You'll want to get your card base, and let's look at this. This one is a 6 1/4 by 4 1/2 card. It is by Tonic Studios, part of their card blanks and envelopes in ivory white. Okay, now there's glare on this. You'll want to take just the inner word spring, not the outer one, and die cut that in gold. This is like a gold metallic cardstock. Set that aside. And for the flowers, you will see that there are 3 floral sizes here. We have the small, medium, and large. And so what I took was the middle one here, and that is what I am calling my large flower. And I need 6 of those. Then I went to this set and took the inside one right there, and I cut out 4 of those. And then, let's see, on this one, I cut out, 3 of those, or yeah, 3 of those, I believe, or 2. No, 2 of those. So I'm going to call those my small, medium, and large flowers. And I will put those right here so we can see them. And then I need some leaves. So I am using the little leaf cluster that's in this, which is the Picnic Season Gift Box set. Okay, but again, you can use whatever leaves you have. And then for distressing, I am using the Distress ink in the Walnut Stain. I'm using Distress Oxides in Lucky Clover and Picked Raspberry, only because I don't have a better green. I think I might want to get one that's closer to what I need. I'm also using the Carnation Pink Crystal Drops, the Champagne Shine Sequins, and I'm using this gold thread. You can see how fine that is. And one more thing is the Hawaiian Orchid Nuvo Aqua Flow marker. Oh, and also the stamps for the inside, because there are stamps for the inside of the flowers that are right here. And I'm also using the walnut stain for those. I will put those aside, and in order to get our flowers, let's get our flowers ready, and then we will assemble the whole card. I'm also using the Tonic Studios Deluxe Adhesive. You know, this works on vellum as well, so basically I can adhere everything that I've got here with that. Okay, so let's get started. We also need a very spongy mat. If you don't have a flower making kit, this one is by McGill. If you don't have a flower making kit, you can put a couple layers of fun foam together for this. And you will need some sort of ball stylus. Now these are too small. You need something bigger, and maybe you can use the tip of a pen cap. And this is what I have here. So what we're going to need to do though is ink these up first, all my flowers, and then then when we're done with that, we will go through and do the flower shaping. So for all of these, I'm going to take the Picked Raspberry, and I have a little sponge dauber right here. And I'm basically going to be going through the center and a little bit out toward the leaves, but I'm leaving the white on the outside of the flower. I think that's important because I want this to have different layers of color. And I want to do that for all of these. They're all, the small, medium, and large are going to get this. So pretty much for this size, you can only kind of swirl it in the middle. So all of these are going to get done. I will do that off camera and we'll come back. Okay, I ended up removing them off of this. I only need to put them on my little silicone mat here. So those are all done, and the next thing I want to do is to take this and I want to stamp the centers. So I have a little stamping block here. Okay, we're going to get this out. We're going to get the large one out and use that for the larger flowers. And grab the medium floral center. And then we have one that's even tinier that we will use for the center of the other ones. But this might not be shown that much because we are going to have, we're putting something in the center of these flowers. The next step will be that I am going to distress the edges of all of these just lightly. I'm not trying to make them look vintage so much as I'm just adding another dimension of color on the flowers here. And I'm going to do that with all of these off camera. Okay, so I'm using the Aquaflow pen marker, and I want it to be somewhat moist but not entirely, and I'm letting my bristles kind of separate, and I'm putting it in the center and I'm just kind of dragging it out like this. So I'm lifting it up as I get closer to the end of the flowers so that it's not giving me a solid, you know, bright pink line. It's getting, the line is getting more narrow as it gets to the outside. Okay, now I'm going to do the rest of these off camera. And those are all done. So I'm going to set those aside. I'm going to color my leaves and then we will assemble flowers together. Okay, so on the leaves, I am using again the Lucky Clover. I have this little brush by Alta New, and I'm just going to be hitting it like right in the center there. It's a really bright color, and I got it a little too inky, so I'm going to kind of drag some of that off of there. And when there we go, that's much better. The first one was a little too bright. And you can see on this one, when I die cut, I accidentally cut the tip off, but that's okay because I'm just going to be cutting off and using pieces of the leaves on that one. Okay, now I will get the rest of these off camera. All right, and the last step on this before I actually shape these is to distress, or not distress, but add a little bit of brown to the tips of the leaves. Also using the walnut on this as well. Let's get these shaped and then I will wash my hands. So with a flower shaper, I'm going to put this down and zoom in a little more even. Okay, we're going to put a big flower down because we could see that better. So I have several balls here, ball styluses, and I'm going to use the biggest one, turn that over, and I'm going to go in a circular motion, pushing down. You can see my table will shake. Pushing down on the petal, and I'm letting it rotate. I'm not stopping it from rotating because I don't want my paper to tear. Okay, so I'm going to do that on all the petals. You can also go up and down this way. Start off gently at first and then increase your pressure as you go. And the last step would be to flip it over and give it a little belly rub right in the center. And so I'm going to do another one and then shape the first flower. Turn it over, give it a belly rub. Now when we assemble these, we're going to figure out which one is the prettiest one. Put that on top and offset the petals so that you see the bottom petals through the cracks between the top petals. And then we're going to take one of these medium ones, and I need to use a smaller stylus because that one is too large. So I'm going to go down a size. That might still be too large. And skip to, let's try this one. And a little belly rub right there. So let's assemble these with our adhesive. I'm going to put a dab of glue in the middle, offset those petals so you can see the bottom layer through it. Another dollop right there, dollop. And then I'm just going to put pressure on that for about 10 seconds. And then once you've done that, all you have to do is to decorate the center, but I usually put it on my card, and then I can use, on some of them I use a Nuvo drop, some of them I put a sequin. If you have any kind of floral centers, you can use those. So this is the first flower we've got assembled there. And then I will show you a leaf. I'm going to take that and use about a medium stylus. And for these, I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to tear the stems. I'm just going to kind of back and forth up the length of the leaf and then a little bit around in the middle. So a little bit back and forth up the length and a little bit of round in the fat part. And that's all. I'm kind of flatten that out a little bit. That's all I do for those. Okay, so I am going to do another big, let's do one of the small ones. So on mine, what I did for these, I made two like this, and one of them, to make it different, I did not include this medium flower. I just did the two outer ones, so I have different flowers. They all look a little different, like they're in different stages of growth. But also for my medium flowers, I'm just going to use a medium and a small flower, and that way it will be a different size flower on my card. So there's one. And now for the small one, I need an even smaller stylus. Let's see, let's use this one, very tiny. Flip it over. Okay, and a little spot of glue on that. So now we have two different sizes of flowers there. So you want all your flowers to look somewhat different, not just identical, more like they would be in nature. Okay, I'm going to finish doing all that off camera. So I've gotten all of these done. So the first ones I showed you was 2 larges and 1 medium. This is a medium and a small. Now I'm going to do another one identical to the first one I did, 2 larges and a medium. And then I'm going to do one that is 2 larges just by themselves, no medium on the inside. So I have extras I don't need, but I could just sprinkle them around the card. We'll see what we think. There we go. And we have these 2 little extra pieces that we might be able to use later on. I'm going to leave my glue out, pack all this up, and get our card out. So when doing card design, you know, we're used to putting something big right across the middle, but sometimes I just like to pull the focus down into one corner, and so that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to get this vellum glued on there, and I know that on video it doesn't show up as well, but in person this vellum really helps to add another dimension, and it's so soft and velvety looking. I think it's a perfect accent for underneath your flowers. Let's get that on. And you don't have to be perfect on your glue with the vellum. Your flowers will cover up any, you know, real big blobs that you get in there. What I like to do is to get my flowers laid onto the card, but not glued on, because I want to see where I think they would fit better. So generally, since there's 3, I'm going to put them like there. And I'll put the odd one in the middle. And then these would go somewhere around here. Actually, that's a totally extra one. I'm going to replicate my other card like that. So this is about how that would look. So what I want to do mainly is I want to situate this on there. Now, you could use your same glue. You could use Fabri-Tac, which I believe I'm going to do because I like using that when I am working on anything that's kind of a, you know, thread or something similar. Okay. And I'm just going to glue this on in loops around the card in no particular fashion, but I'm going to start right here under where my flower is going to go, because I think that will give it some real, it will hide. See, I'm going to make a loop and cross it over right there where my flower is going to sit, and I'm just going to let it park it there for a second. And then I'm going to come over, bring it to where my other flower is going to go. Make another loop. You have to decide too whether you want your thread or anything to extend off the side of the card. And this is so coiled up. It's been around this roll for a long time, and so it tends to go where it wants to go, and sometimes you just have to not fight with the thread. Just let it loop the way it wants to loop. So I try to play around with it and get it where I want it. Okay, and now I want to head up where this other flower is going to go, right there. Let's hold that down for a minute. And just continue to make loops like that. I am not gluing the ends down because that is really part of the beauty of this. I just love the loops sticking up how they do. And I think this time what I'm going to do is bring this around and leave one end sticking out. I didn't do that on my other one. I made sure that all the loops, that was just all loops, but I'm going to leave a raw end exposed here. Okay, so then we're just going to glue down the flowers and the leaves. I glue the flowers down first, and I am going to use Fabri-Tac because they're going on top of the thread here. I think it will make it easier for them to adhere. And then we're going to toss in, let's start putting some of these leaves down now. I notice I put the flowers down before the leaves because it helps me for placement to see where to put these. Lift up the petals and put the leaves under there. And you can see how that adding that green really makes it come alive, I think. You want your leaves to come out at different directions. You don't want all the leaves coming out toward the left. That's going left and up. This is kind of like northeast, northwest, and this is southwest. But now I'm going to bring some up this way as well. Okay, now we have a couple of these to put out, but now I think I've come far enough that I can go ahead and use the these little spare leaves that I've got here, like this. I'm going to put a flower here, and I'm going to put this one little lone leaf there under it. And we will do one more over here. All right, this does need to set up, but we can decide whether we want to add these two little tiny pieces in there, or is it going to be too cluttery. The other thing we need to do is to get down our spring word here. And to do centers for these. So we want to use the Nuvo drops for all the big flowers. And while it's wet, you could add a little dusting of glitter on there if you wish. And now I want to use this, which is their little sequins. And I'm going to use it for the centers of those two flowers, and I'm also going to use it for just sprinkling around the card, and that's too many. I can't even see what I have there. All right, so let's put a little dab of adhesive in there and there. And then I want to sprinkle just a few glitter sequins around the card. Now I've had some ask about this picker-upper here, this embellishment tool. It is just silicone, it's not sticky. So it just kind of uses some static there. Okay, well, let me get this spring pushed down there, and let's bring this close up, and we will bring that right there where you can see the final result. And I think I want to leave my flowers the way they are. I have an odd number, which I like. And let's bring the first one in and show you the first and second in the same shot right there. Whoops, that's not going to work. So there we have the first and the second that we have accomplished. There you have it. I think they are stunning. I love that the gold is just sticking up off the card. It's not glued to the card, the little loops. I think the green makes it pop. I think all the colors of ink make it pop. Everything is just so gorgeous. So thank you for watching. Make sure you look at the links down below and to get some of the products that you might need to try and make something similar for yourself.